Emotions are high all across the nation as people continue to mourn the lost lives of people of color like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others. Protests continue calling for justice. Racism is something that's been around for centuries, and people of color are still feeling it in their daily lives. That's why KELOLAND's Lauren Solich sat down with two black women today to hear their stories about what it was like growing up as people of color in South Dakota.
Tegan McNary grew up in Vermillion, where she was one of very few people of color in her school.
I would say in terms of like a person of color, like a minority growing up in rural South Dakota, it was difficult in a sense. I mean, you knew from the time that you were young that you were pretty different from everybody around you, and there were not a lot of people that looked like you.
Abouk Jill grew up in Sioux Falls, where she was the only black person in her class.
To me, when I was growing up, race was always in front of me. My mother, when I was in elementary school, she would always kind of tell me like, hey, did something happen at school today? Or always check in with me. And when I was little, I never really thought anything much of those little like check-ins or like her asking me what like teachers would say to me personally. I just took it as my mother being in a way overprotective. And then as I started to grow up and realize that my mother wasn't actually being overprotective, she was in a way trying to protect me from what I didn't know.
Growing up, they both struggled to find their identities as people of color.
And me, for a matter of fact, there was only a certain amount of assimilation that I could do to fit in. But at the end of the day, I was always that one black girl in the class. And that growing up kind of put a hinder in a lot of my confidence and just how I walk through the world in general.
I'm biracial. I grew up with my mom, who is white, and so I think that also probably played a role in it as well. You don't really realize how much of an impact it has to grow up and not be around a lot of people that look like you. And so I think when I was younger, especially, that was difficult for me.
Around the country and also beyond America's borders, people are calling attention to the struggles people of color face.
I think it's great that people are starting this conversation. They've started this conversation for many years, and now we're seeing that a lot of people are coming and helping and backing us. And if we don't get this conversation out and get something figured out soon, this will forever be an ongoing issue, and that's not something I want to see.
In Sioux Falls, Lauren Solich, KELOLAND News.
McNary and Jill both went to the University of South Dakota for their higher education. McNary was the first black female student body president and the first black homecoming queen at USD. Jill is following in her footsteps and is the current student body president. They have both shared even more of their experience growing up as people of color. Under this story at KELOLAND.com, you can read more about their struggles and the prejudices they have faced throughout their life. You can also read more of their thoughts on the civil rights movement happening today.